Life changed pretty quick for Nick Jonas at just 13 years old. And it wasn't only because he was on his way to becoming a teen heartthrob. Here's how his type 1 diabetes diagnosis changed and saved his life. Receiving the news that he was a type 1 diabetic had Nick Jonas very worried at just 13 years old. But it was nothing short of a miracle he made it to the doctor in time. By the time he was tested for diabetes, Nick's blood sugar levels were so high, he was close to ending up in a diabetic coma. He said, "I was very close to a coma." He says, like a day away if I hadn't gone to the hospital. Luckily, he made it in time, thanks to his older brothers, Joe and Kevin's watchful eyes. They had noticed Nick was drinking an unhealthy amount of Coca-Cola, which would send him to the bathroom frequently. But even with his insatiable thirst for the sugary drink, Nick was quickly losing weight instead of putting it on.
I started to notice that I was losing weight. I lost about 15 pounds in 2 weeks.
He shared in an Instagram post that, coupled with his frequent bathroom breaks and unquenchable thirst, another symptom he was dealing with at the time was irritability. And sure enough, all those signs pointed to diabetes. Once he came to terms with his diabetes, Nick knew his life was about to change. But it took some time for him to learn how manageable his diabetes was. He told people, "It took a while to figure out how to count carbs to properly dose for insulin, and what things would affect me in different ways. But it seems he's got it all figured out now." Nick told GQ that he managed to bulk up for his role in the TV show Kingdom because he had been conscientious about food for a long time. Though it took some time for Nick to figure out how to manage his diagnosis and his hectic schedule as an actor, musician, and now husband and father, his first reaction was fear of the future. At the time of his diagnosis, things were just kicking off for his music career. He shared with his foundation, Beyond Type 1, that at the time I was thinking that this might end my dream of being able to tour the world and play our music. It was frightening and really saddening, but clearly it didn't stop much, as he went on to have a great musical career and is still able to go on tour. But Nick says he may not have been so fearful in the beginning if he had someone to look up to at the time who could be a representation of living a full life with diabetes. So he decided to become that role model by co-founding the organization Beyond Type 1. In an Instagram post to commemorate Diabetes Awareness Month, he shared that the reason he started the foundation was to make sure no one feels alone with this diagnosis and to share how you can thrive with type 1 diabetes.
If I can use this as a platform to be able to share my story and be an inspiration and encouragement to people, then it's all worth it.
The advice Nick gives as a role model for others living with diabetes is to stay encouraged. He told Healthline, "I think the encouraging thing for them is to know that this is a manageable disease, and there may be bumps along the way, but you can do it." To be able to continue managing his diabetes while having a busy life, Nick credits his team of doctors and therapists, and his team for helping him manage his emotional and mental health. He told people, "I certainly speak to my therapist, and luckily I've got a really good support system around me and a great set of doctors." And he's learned to prioritize his wellness by taking social media breaks, going on long walks with his wife, Priyanka Chopra, and staying creative with some screenwriting. Nick's daily routine has certainly changed with his diagnosis, as he shared with Larry King for a special with the American Association of Diabetes.
My daily routine is basically wake up and first thing I do is check my blood sugar. And throughout the day, I'll check my blood sugar anywhere from 10 to 12 times.
But Priyanka says it doesn't stop him from living life to the fullest, even if it means taking time to check his sugar levels. She told people he's not restricted himself from anything. He plays sports, he's touring, he lives an incredible life. It's so inspiring to see. As for Nick, he says he's able to live his full life thanks to the support of his family, friends, and team. He told Rolling Stone, "If you've just tried to go it alone, it's going to be really tough. But I'm grateful to have such an amazing support system around me." While on tour, he's got his team ready in case his blood sugar gets too low.
We have an amazing team when we're on the road who are always prepared. I got juice on the side of stage, and my guitar tech will bring it out and make sure I'm cool.
And even with all the support around him, Nick recognizes that every day isn't going to be perfect. That when you're living with this disease, there will be ups and downs.
But there are just things that are unpredictable about this disease and the management of the disease. It's just about staying on it as best you can.
Though Nick is a self-proclaimed perfectionist who sometimes gets down on himself, he says, "I understand that a lot of things are out of my control and keep me on my toes all the time." Almost 2 decades after his initial diagnosis, Nick Jonas has clearly learned how to live a balanced, healthy life and is using his platform to be a role model for others living with diabetes.